Hello there. So before we start building our drums, we're going to install our drum kit. I'm sure you must have downloaded the drum kit by now. So this is FL Studio already open. So what I'll need you to do is, I need you to come to your packs and you scroll down to your packs folder right here. You come to open, you right click it. If you can't see this window menu, maybe you accidentally closed it like this, you can always left click and drag it out, or you can use this symbol right here, this plugin picker icon, to toggle it on and off. So you click your browser open, then you right click, you come to open. What this does is it's going to open up a folder like this for you. So we'll minimize FL Studio, and when you download the pack, it's mostly likely going to be in a compressed format like this. So you have to do is right click and extract to the folder sctuts class pack, and it's going to extract, and it's going to see you're going to see a folder like this. All you have to do is you can copy or you can move it, and then you can copy here. I rather copy, and then you can see it right here, sctuts class pack. And then you can bring back your FL Studio, and then you click this icon here, you read structure. Then when I scroll down, you can see it's here, sctuts class pack. And then here we're going to get our claps, kicks, snares, drums, everything we need for our drums for the course of this lesson is here. And the reason why it's important for you to use this pack is that these are high quality drum kits that you usually get good results from. So I don't know what pack you may be using, but I recommend you stick with using these packs, because I, as a producer, I only use quality packs. So these are just some of the major sounds I use. In fact, most of the kick and the snare and the percussions are my go-to sound, so that's what I'm sharing with you for this lesson. Alright, so now let's build the drum pattern. So we click this right here to bring out the channel rack. This is the channel rack. So let's start with the kick. Now before you build a drum, make sure that it's something you can actually hum, like, or if you can't hum it, trust me, that's not a good drum pattern. You should be able to hum the drum pattern, and that sounds like the kick, then is the snare. So that for the kick, then for the snare. So let's look for a kick. Any of the kick here is fine, but let me go with this one. You can choose to overwrite, or you can come here and create a new one, a new structure. Then let's look for a snare. I like this sound. You can drag it there. Then let's look for a percussion. We'll have to go crazy. We may never need a percussion, but let's just have it here. And then let's look for, we're going to use a shaker loop as well. Let's have this shaker loop here. So this is all dragged out. So now let's create the drum pattern itself. Now you understand how to install your drum packs, how to pick your drum elements, and how to create your own selection. So now let's create a drum track. So first of all, we start with the tempo. Most trendy Afropop songs right now between 90 BPM to 110 BPM. So we just select this tempo right here, scroll down, let's stick to 97. Let's say 98. Let's stick with 98. If this shows you restretch all channels, just click yes, because of the shaker, because the shaker is a loop, so that's why it's asking you to restretch all channels. But that is by the way. So now let's create our drum. Let's pick a hum. Let's do. So to do that, make sure your metronome is on and you listen. You press your space bar and you listen. Then let's see if we can hum it. So you should try and like bounce with your metronome. So let's do that now. Then you can point the snare. Then Remember, it all starts with the kick, so make sure you are starting with the kick. Every song, the kick comes first, then the snare and other things. So we can even hum a different drum pattern. Let's do so. Remember, if you can't hum it, it's not a valid drum pattern. So now let's add a percussion. For your percussion, you don't have to go crazy as well. It should be simple and minimal. And there are so many variations you can do from this. Just make sure that whichever drum pattern you pick, you should be able to hum it. Or you should just be able to hum it. Anything you can't hum is not a valid drum pattern. Do not be tempted to go crazy. Keep it simple, keep it minimal. Alright, so here, remember I said we have a shaker. So we're going to have this pattern 1 right here, and we're going to create a couple of it here so that I can occupy these 4 bars. If you can't see your piano, your playlist, simply click this button here. Is going to toggle your playlist on and off. So here we're going to drag the shaker. That is, when you click this, you see this thing will happen. In case if maybe it comes to anywhere else, just come to this icon here so you can see this. Make sure this place here is green. Then you select this and then you drag it over here. Now if I play it, then make sure you come to song mode. If I play it, you see that it sounds off. It's not on tempo. So what you will do is you double click it. You understand? You double click it, you right click time. You understand? When you right click time, you come to start with 2 bars first. If you listen to 2 bars, if it sounds okay, then let's see. Alright, let's try and see how 4 bars or 3 bars sound. You see, it sounds terrible. 4 bars, let's see how 4 bars sound. It sounds like it's in slow motion, but I think 2 bars is best. So yeah, so you reduce the volume a little. You see, we already have a very good drum pattern. Very simple and very, very minimal. So you can always right click to delete any track you mistakenly put here. Or you can even maybe make the kick a little bit busier. You can always do. Then let's say, yes, you see. So whatever sound you pick, you should be able to hum it. Don't go crazy by trying to paint too many information here. Whichever sound you pick, you should be able to hum it. All right. I know that whichever shaker you use, whichever kit you use, the same principle applies. So I encourage you to try this out with different sound packs. You may not have to copy exactly what I do, but the principle here is use quality sound pack like the one I provided for you. Secondly, make sure you can hum the drum pattern, which is even more important. Make sure you can actually hum it. If you can't hum it, it's not a valid drum pattern. Then number 3, keep it extremely simple. Do not try to impress anybody. Do not try to go crazy. Keep it simple. If you can't hum it, it's not valid. Alright, let's move on to the next lesson. Alright, so now we're going to build our chords. So first of all, we have to load up our sound. You simply right click right here and you come to insert, or you can right click below your last sound, depends where you want to position it. Go to insert, not replace, but insert. And then you go to insert, we're going to be using the flex plugin. Let's see, flex. Yes, here it is, new flex plugin. I'm going to be patient with it and it's going to load up. If you can't find your flex plugin, simply come here, search, then type in flex, then hit enter. Then you can see it's going to bring it up here. Or you can come to plugins. Let me show you that way again to look for it. You can come to your plugin database, right click, then you come to smart find, then type in flex and then you press enter. and then it's going to bring it out for you, flex plugin, and then you can just simply drag and drop like you would your your drum sounds. So we just need one for now. So that's how you can get your flex plugin. All right, so now what we're going to need is a very soft piano guitar vibe. You know, something very soft. Most of the songs out there, their sounds, their melodies are really soft and soft, nothing too harsh or crazy. So there's a sound inside here that I particularly like. It's called, I think it's called jazz piano. You come to all, let's come to all, this section right here, and then you come to search. Maybe you can just type in guitar. When you type in, you may never need to spell it completely, but maybe you can just write git or guitar. Then you can just select different sounds. Then make sure this button here is turned up so you can press your keyboard to test to know whether you like the sound. When this is off, you see if I press it, I can't get any melody. But when it's selected, you see I can press my Q, W, E, R, E, T on my keyboard and I can get sounds. So now I'll keep testing. I need something really, yes, this is fine, but let's go again. That is too harsh. I like this, but this will reduce the volume. It's too loud. Reduce the volume. I like between that and this. Let's go with this first. We'll use that one later. So you see, we need the sound to be really soft and soft. You may even use an electric piano or an organ or a Rhodes sound or something just very soft, nothing harsh. You see how soft this one is? But this one here is too harsh. We don't need something like that. We don't need anything harsh. This is fine too, but I just prefer this. This one is too harsh. It's just something soft. Alright, now so let's create our chords. So once we've selected our sound, we'll come here. Then you right click, first empty. It's going to give us an empty pattern that you select. Make sure your pencil tool here is selected. So you double click. Make sure that this box here is in bar mode. That is your playlist. Then, but when you're in your piano roll should be, let's bring that over here. Let's resize that. So let's make it big. So this is piano roll for flex. So now I want to show you how you can easily create chords. Now we're going to need helpers, of course. So we're going to come here. We're going to go to helpers. I just want to click this drop down menu inside the piano roll. We're going to go to helpers and we're going to go to scale highlights, and then we're going to go to the key. We want to use key C because key C is all the white keys in the piano. It's very easy to understand. So we're going to use key C, then major. You understand? Make sure you select key C, then you come again and select major. So when you show you that, it's going to show you this light gray and these dark gray lines. Let me make this a bit bigger so you can see. You can see this light gray lines is all the notes that belong to key C. So let me just quickly create a chord. Is what I'm saying. If I stretch this out a little, remember the 1-3-5 formula from our earlier lesson. This 1, 2, 3. You see how easy it is now for you to count. Just 1, 2, 3. That's 3 light gray notes. Then 3, 4, 5, and the fifth light gray notes. Then we listen. You see, that is how to create a chord. So I'm going to create a quick chord and see how that feels like. So, but before we do that, we also have an idea of how the kind of vibe or pattern of the chord we want to create. So we just paste single notes first of all, but make sure it's in the light gray section. I want to do dun dun dun. You understand? Don't do like ta-da, didn't. Those are not chords. Chords are like they sustain a bit more. You understand? They're not as vibey as melodies. They don't have much vibe. They just sustain. They are straight most times. This is going to be my chord progression. So now we'll build on it and see. I may not like it, I may like it, I may change it. So this is the 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. This is the same thing. I will just simply rearrange it. Then let's listen and see. Then we're going to select this and then have it here so it repeats all over again. So you can create any pattern of chords you like, you understand? You can even make it maybe just 2 chords for yourself all the way. Or you can even say no, you want maybe E should be it. So 1 2 3 4 5. Depends on what you want. Or you can even make it simple and straight. Let's do this. Then let me clean something out for you. Okay, I don't need to. Alright, so now let me show you. This is 2 chords. What if you want to create 4 chords? Let's open it and see. So remember, I already did D, E, so we can just select another note here and maybe bring it back to this or go even higher. So this is 1 3 5. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Now let me show you how to make it get even more vibe. Then we'll bring it here. Like the chords should connect with the kick, you understand? You should really talk with the kick. Yeah, that's it. Then we'll resize this. You can hold your control and left click to select multiple objects at once. You understand? So it comes again. Then make sure they don't interfere with each other. You reduce them. So that depends on you, but I think I prefer just 2 chords. That's just what I prefer. You can create 2 or 4 chords. Just make sure that it sounds and feels right to you. And so I'm going to show you something again, something interesting that can help spice up your production. So you right click this, you go to render and replace. Now you're going to see this. So we're going to select this. Now we have 2. So we have to make sure we make unique so that what we do in this one will not affect this other one right here. So I'm going to show you some things you can do to make your chords even interesting. You can mess with the pitch here. You can, when you drop it down, you see it will sound. Now if I click it, if I take it all the way up, so a rule of thumb when doing this is that you cannot, if you do it like it's going to sound off, for example. It's not going to sound exactly accurate, you understand? So it has to be either all the way to the end here or all the way to the end here. You see how it sounds? So, and you can still do this again, select it again and then make unique once again. and then you reverse. When you reverse, see how it sounds. You can even reset it to be on the middle, and then before you play it this way, you see it's not going to sound accurate, so you have to break it up. So you come here, then you select 1/4 beats, then you take your knife tool, then you zoom in. By zooming in, you have to scroll through this, roll your mouse here to zoom in and out. Then you come to the end of each big head of this wave. You see this is the big head. Then you come here again, another big head of it. Then you come to this guy again, another big head of it. You see, now we've cut everything up, but that's not the last step. Then the final step is that we take from the last point. This is where they say the tail becomes the head and the head becomes the tail. So you start from the back, you start picking everybody one by one, you see, and the one we listen. So whether you play 2 or 4 chords or even 3 chords, you have to make sure you cut it up in that manner, so that because usually when you reverse it, just like when you reverse it, you're kind of like flipping it the other way. So when you flip it the other way, you have to cut it up, then bring that end to the beginning, cut it in the head. Then you see, for example, this is where this head here ends, and this is where this one begins. You see, then you see this tail right here. This is where it ends, and this is where it begins. So if you ever want to reverse your chords or make your chords sound unique, you can always do that. You may not always need to reverse your chords, you understand? This is just preference to make your stuff sound interesting. You can do well with just this. You can be fine with just this. But this is just extra ideas to help you liven up your chords if you want to have some more interesting sounds in it. Alright, so now let's move on to the next lesson. Alright, so now let's get started building the melodies. But before building the melodies, I want you to know that there are different types of melodies you should know. One is the lead melody, which is the most repetitive and the one you typically get to vibe to first. Second is the background melodies. You don't really hear this, but they are somewhere in the background just supporting all the other melodies and chords. Third is the counter melody. Like when this melody usually is almost close to the lead melody, but it's not as repetitive as the melody. It comes and it goes. Then the fourth is the bass. Now we're going to create all these melodies in this lesson at once. Let's get started. So we're going to clone this. Right click, go to clone. We're going to be using Flex a lot because it's a very great plugin with high quality sounds and it's free in FL Studio. Alright, so we already have jazz guitar, so I want to also use a different sound this time. Let's try. I like the sound. I like the sound. Let's see this. Okay, let's use this guitar. I think I like the guitar too. So many sounds that I like here. I'm just typing my computer keyboard. It's not a MIDI keyboard. My computer keyboard, and I'm playing these sounds. So let's just go with the nylon guitar. Let's go with nylon guitar. Let's see what we can do. So for creating chords, remember I already took out this chord. So we have to go back to pattern 2 again. And then, because this will be a helper for us, you understand? So you can mute this. Okay, if I play it together, it will sound too loud. So you can mute flex. That is the first one with this information. You can mute it. Then you can right click and come to piano roll. You see you have these ghost notes here. If you can't see ghost notes in yours, click this drop down right here. Go to tools. Sorry, go to helpers. Go to helpers. Then you see ghost. Make sure this is selected. Or you press alternate and your keyboard key V, alternate and V to bring it out. So let me show you an example. Alternate and V is off, alternate and V is back on. So Now in creating melodies, we have to make sure that our melodies play within these gray lines. You see this gray line that is here. I can also place some melodies in between here because it's on this gray, you understand, this gray line, gray line, gray line, gray line, gray line, gray line. So all I have to do is stick within those light gray lane and I'll be fine with my melodies. So let's try something quick and see something interesting. Nothing, and also don't make your melodies too busy. Keep it bloody simple. Very, very simple. Let's try something. Dun 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 dun. I think that should be our lead melody. Dun dun. Let's see. Dun 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 dun. Let me extend this. Dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. You see, I'm trying to find the sound. Dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. Dun, dun. Dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. English beats. Yes, then. Yes. You see, I mean, the gray notes, I didn't step out of it. I'm all in this lane. So I see it's very simple. So I'll just select this, you understand? Hold your control and then your left mouse. Make sure you selected this pencil tool. Hold your control and your left mouse and then you sweep all across. You select it. Then hold your shift. Please make sure this magnet here is showing either 1/4 beats or bar, but for this 1/4 beats will be best. Then you hold your shift, only your shift key, then you use your left mouse, and while you're holding your shift key, use your left mouse key and pull it out, you understand? And then we have to make sure it starts, you see this is 1 2, so we have 1 2, so I have to make sure it starts in the same. Alright, so this is our lead melody. Now we're going to create our counter melody and our backup melody. Alright, so now let's create the counter melody first before we create other melody types. Now when picking out the sound for this melody, you have to make sure that they blend with each other. Do not pick harsh melodies or harsh sounds. All your sounds should be as subtle and calm as possible. Because most of the Afrobeat songs, the vibes are coming out these days. The melodies are calm, they are chilled, you know, the vibe is nice, nothing harsh or nothing too, you know, nothing too heavy, just something soft and subtle. So let's look for something. Just something that can play in the background. Something that can play. Too harsh. Too harsh. Wow, this sounds soft. Yeah, this is soft. So now it may take you a bit more time to find these sounds out for yourself. Be very patient with yourself. Be very, very patient with yourself. You don't have to find everything in one sitting. If it takes you an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or even a whole day to find the right sound for your chords, do that. You understand? You may even try and copy what I'm doing first, then later on try it for yourself. But be very patient with yourself. When you're very familiar with this Flex plugin, then you know where to go to for your sounds and all of that. You can even see I'm even browsing and looking for sounds in real time while making this lesson. So you have to be very patient with yourself and listen to the sounds and experiment. Feel free to change, to try again. When you pick a sound, it doesn't have to be the final choice. You can always go back, even much later. You can still go back and change it completely, and it's still very fine. So we'll come to Flex again, go to piano roll. Let's say what kind of melodies. Like I said, counter melody sound close. It sounds close to either the chord or the lead melody, but it's not as repetitive as the lead melody. You understand? Dun, 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 dun. Now it's not going to repeat as much as that. If you're going to be clashing, it's going to allow the lead melody be the star boy, be the star of the whole song. But it's just going to support the lead melody, while at the same time, you know, being a bit more bouncier than the chords. A simpler way to even start building off your counter melodies by still using the chord but shifting it from, you know, this chord started from here, so we can shift it a little. Maybe we can start from here and just do this, for example. Then we can do it again here. Do it here again. Then we'll just copy that and then we'll paste it here. Make sure you count properly while pasting. You see, it allows the main melody have space. The lead melody has space, you understand? There's space for the lead melody. Nothing is trying to tell you that this is not the lead melody. Once you hear it, you know that this is the lead melody, you understand? Like when you hear the beats, or when you're making a beat, the one you can easily hum the most, that is the lead melody, you understand? Then all other things should not distract you from the lead melody. Instead, they should complement it. You see, this one here is the counter melody, but it's very, very subtle. It's not distracting you from the lead. You can hear the lead melody. It's not distracting you. It's a bit different instrument as well. It's not the exact same instrument. So it gives you space to have your lead melody and at the same time supports your main chords. Alright, now so let's have our let's clone this again. Let's have our background melody this time. Our background melody will have a lot more sustain, you understand? It's going to have a lot more sustain, but it's going to be sustained like the chords, but it won't be as bright or as loud as the chords. Let me show you an example. Something like a pad, something like this. This kind of sound, yes. So you can even copy your chord progression and paste it here. That is very fine. But reduce the volume, it's too loud. So I don't even like the sound. Let's change the sound, but you get the idea of how subtle I mean. This plugin has so many great sounds. Let's come to all. Okay, so I'm just randomly looking for and selecting sounds. Okay. Yeah. So I'll reduce the volume. It's too loud. I'll reduce. It's just be in the background, just very soft. So you can see me reducing the volume here. Yeah. All right, now so let's build the bass. Let's build the bass. So for bass, we're going to use a different plugin. I think it's harmless. Then we'll go to just the sub. Yes, that's all we need for our bass. So we'll come here, piano roll. Our bass, we're still going to stick to this. So let's. Now you can still hum your bass if you have a bass. Make sure anything you're even playing at all, you should be able to hum it. Anything you can hum easily, for just let it be. That's going to be our bass line. Sorry, listen. So we have to reduce it. Remember it cuts. Let's take it higher and see. Or you can even play with it and see. I prefer it here. Now, if you want to have more bass, you can come to a lower octave, but I think the bass notes here are fine. So we select this. Remember, always holding your shift, and then you move it out here. And if you're having problems with your shift and your mouse key, you can always do it manually. Click it in manually. Alright, so that's it for the bass. That's it for how you create the bass. Now I've created the lead melody, I've created the background melody, I've created the counter melody, and I've also created the bass. So let's get on with the next lesson. Alright, so now we're going to structure this beat into a full-length beat. In this lesson, it's attached with a PDF guide where you can see the different song structures. There are about 5. There are so many more, but 5 common song structures. Make sure you download that guide so that you can follow it up and create your own unique structure by observing the guide. So I'll be going with guide number 1, where there'll be an intro, verse, then the hook, then the verse, then the hook, and the outro. And of course, it could be intro. Anyway, you see the verse and the chorus or the hook can always be switched. So you must not be intro, verse all the time. It can be intro, hook, then verse, or it could be anyone. So let's just split this. Remember, we have so many information here. So we're going to split it up. And yeah, so we'll come here, make sure it's selected, right click, pattern 2. So we're going to go to split by channel. You see now it's going to be so many. We're just going to drag everything out. Yes. So remember, we mute this. So this is flex. So we'll take out the very first one called flex because it's muted, and then we'll drag everything up here. They should all be together. So now let's select everything and then give it space. You understand? Give it space. How that'll be. Let's go back to let's take this here. Before you give it space, make sure you select bar. This bar here should be selected for more accuracy. So let's start with the main chord, which is this guy right here. Then hold your shift. You can even select this guy too, and maybe the reverse as well. You can even select maybe the shaker if you want. Then the kick and the shaker. So we're going to just select this one now. We want our intro to just be 4 bars, then our verse 16 bars. Let's select this with it. Just sub to, you know. Then our counter melody comes in from here. But before we have all that build up, I want you to understand something in song structure. We usually have what we call the climax and anti-climax. Now, if I play it, it's already starting on a little bit of high, you understand? It's not like a bit elevated, then the beat comes down. You understand? It's calm now. So the beat went from a climax. Climax means you are climbing something, you understand? It's approaching a peak. You feel like something is about to happen, you understand? So it's building up. It's building up. Then it calms down now. Now the beat is calm. Then now a little bit of climax now. Dun, 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 dun. So now we're going to need, since it has climax a little, we're going to need to like calm down again relatively. So we're going to take these ones out. To reduce it, we're going to select this. Let's insert one, right click, insert one. So we're going to take this up here, make unique, and then we're going to take out the kick. Then to bring it down, we can even do it for this complete 4 parts. Now, then you can come up a bit more now. Now, you know, this verse was for 16 bars. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4 times each of these 4 boxes, that is 16. So the chorus will be for another 16 bars. In the PDF guide, you see that I mentioned that choruses and verse can be for 8 or 16 bars. Depends on how long you want the song and what you want to do in the song. So let's bring in the bass. Now we're going to share the bass. each half of the parts will have bass. That is, the half of the verse will have bass, the half of the chorus will have bass. So then it's like this. See, it's more elevated now. All right, so now if you see it now, we have climax, anticlimax, climax again, anticlimax from here, then here, start to climax, start to build up, then the verse again is going to die everything down completely. So we just select everything and then we take it here. Let me adjust the loudness. That bass, it sounds too loud. Let me just reduce it a little. All right. So now we have our intro, our verse, our hook, our intro, our verse, our hook, and our verse and our hook again. Then now we need an outro. So our outro can be maybe 8 bars. We can make our outro 8 bars. I usually copy ideas from my intro into my outro. Yeah. That can be the outro. And now let's have some drum rolls. In the pack that you downloaded earlier, there are some drum rolls. These drum rolls, I actually got them from Beats. You can check out Beats. His drum rolls are really great. You can buy them, but these are from the free. So now we try to use the drum rolls. All you have to do is drag and drop the drum rolls here, and it's going to automatically fit into your tempo. You see? Then I want us to have this other sound again, this clap. You can drag it and drop somewhere here. Then that's too loud. Let me reduce it some more. Let me see something. You can reverse it. So to do that, you just simply duplicate it, make it unique, and then you can reverse. You can see it's not sticking to this grid here. So to do that, you can click 1/4 step, so you can take it really close, and then you zoom in to make sure that it laps properly. And then you come back to your regular 1/4 beat, or you can reduce the volume some more. Yeah. Then you can still make this clap again happen here. Then you can use another drum roll. Let's use this drum roll, then we place it here. Then you can layer it with some clap again. So I'm just going to have the same clap right here, then this guy right here. Okay, no, we'll just copy everything, all this information like this. Hold your shift, then because it's basically the same arrangement, then with this thing. Sorry, I think this will sound better here. Yeah. And we have a full structure. So what you take note of when building your song structure, it's you need to take note of the climax and anticlimax. That you need to know how to build up your sounds. Like, you don't have to choke everything to play at once. You can see the most climatic, like there's the part with the highest climax is this part here. This is where all the sounds really came to play. But everywhere else we're having, like, they were just coming and going. The intro, we had the shaker and the reverse chords and the main chords. Then here we had the kick and the snare with shaker and the main chords. Then here we have a little bit more. Then here they went. Then just you see the build up. You can just study the build up here when building your own song structure. So some parts you have that make you feel like something's about to happen, then it should die down. You should have that journey. Because it should not just be like building up and building up and building up and building up. You should have this, we are going up, then we come down. We go up, then we come down. We go up, then we come down. You should have, your beats should have that feeling when you're arranging your elements. So take time out to watch this video over and over and over again so you can properly understand song structure. And also you can refer to the templates, the PDF templates, to guide you on how best to structure your beats. So typically number one to number 3 is very common right now. It's very common to see number 1 to number 3. So you can play within number 1 to number 3. You can also attempt 4 and 5 if you really want to know how that sounds. All right, let's move on to the next lesson. Hey there, so today we're going to be building our chord. Hey there, so we're going to be mixing our beats. We're going to link the drums. We select this. When you are linking it, hold your shift. You understand? Hold your shift so you can select multiple parts. If maybe yours isn't showing everything complete, click all. You see all your sounds will come out. Then you can move this up here. Just keep selecting all the way. Make sure all you need is green. If you mistakenly select something, don't be worried. You can always, while holding your shift, click it and it will go away. So hold. So everything is selected now. Then we'll go to our mixer. Control Shift plus L, or Command Shift and L if you're using Mac. So now you see all our sounds are here in the mixer. Remember, this is your mixer. You see everything is here. So now let's start mixing the drums. We'll select where it has the most drum elements. Hold your control and you see this dark bar right here. You hold your control over it. Select a reasonable range. 8 bars is fine. And then we solo it. Right click and on your shaker. When you right click, you solo it. Just only this is going to play. So we want because shaker is part of drum, so we want our shaker to on. Alright, now so let's start mixing. First we're going to do our mixing drums is gain stage. So we're going to adjust the level, that is the loudness first, before we even start in any effects or processing. So this is the shaker. You see, you reduce the volume. Like nothing should be overly louder than the other one. They should all sound reasonable in the ear, you understand? They should all sound reasonable. And do not cross go above this limit. Do not cross 0. You see, to show you here, this is 2.0. No. If something is not loud enough, I'll show you how to make it louder later, but do not go all the way up here. Alright, so we'll come to the snare. Then this here. So like your snare should just be a bit louder than your shaker, you understand? Your percussion should almost be as loud as your snare. They should kind of support each other. Like the kick here, you understand? The snare here, your percussions here, then your shaker down here. Like they should all, you know, support you in terms of loudness. So the loudness can be kind of like the kick, then followed by the snare. Then the percussion or percussions, if you have multiple percussions, should all support the snare. They should not be louder than the snare. They should kind of like rally around the snare and support the snare or the clap if it's a clap you are using. Alright, so now we finished gain stage. This is a basic gain staging for our drums. So now we're going to EQ our kick. So we'll come here, click EQ, parametric EQ 2. What EQ does is that EQ tries to remove unwanted frequency. You know, when you hear some kind unnecessary bars, when you have too much bars in a song or in a sound, it's because of the low frequency. So this is where the low frequency is. Let me solo the kick so you hear it properly. If I right click to solo, so if I see, so this is low frequency, and then this area here is high frequency. So let's bring everything back together. Right click again to bring everything back together, and then we'll listen. So EQ, mixing is just like how we kept the whole process of making this beat very, very simple. You understand? We kept the kicks, the snare, the percussions, the melodies, and everything really, really simple. Mixing will even be much simpler. Trust me, mixing is not as hard as people make it sound. You keep it really, really simple. Simple changes in mixing give you big results. Huge changes give you very poor results. So anything that makes you make a huge change while mixing is going to be, trust me, it's going to suck later on. So keep your changes very, very subtle. So we just cut it a little, you understand? Just a little, and this is fine for the kick, trust me. Then for the snare, we'll come also again, parametric EQ. We're going to take out all this information here, all the way here, because this is where the bulk of the sound is. Where you see the brightest sound, the brightest colors, that's where the most of the sound is. If I take it, you see, it sounds, that's not a good sound. So this is better. This is better. And if I take this out, you can see it's sounding muffled. Now we don't want that. You can cut a little if it sounds too sharp in your ear. And while mixing, I assume you are using good speakers or good headphones. You understand? You need good speakers or headphones to get a reasonable mix. Alright. So also note that because if this is lower than, that does not mean that this is louder than this, you understand? Because this is here, that does not mean that this one is automatically louder than this one, you understand? Like the snare is still kind of louder than it, even though it's below it, you understand? So trust your ears more than you trust anything you see inside here. Trust your ears, even though you make mistakes and it doesn't sound right. Once it doesn't sound right in your ear, trust your ear that this doesn't sound right. But what you should trust while looking in your FL Studio is you should not see anything red here. In this this bar right here, it should not turn red. And also in this place here, you should not see anything red in your mixer. So, but aside from that, trust your ears. And please do not pan your kick to one ear. That is bad. Always leave your kick in the center. Or you can pan your snare a little bit to the right, maybe 10 or 20%, between 10 to 20%. No, sorry, between between 10 to 15% for snare and clap. Then for your percussions, you can pan it between 10 and 20% left or right in opposite directions. Similar sounds go in opposite direction, like like a snare can be 10% left, and a clap can be maybe 12% right. You understand? Because snare and clap are kind of close. Then percussions, maybe a hand drum and a bongo can be 15% left, 15% right, or 20% left, 20% right. You get the jerk. Like similar sounds go in opposite directions, which you will see as we progress. So alright, so this is it. You can leave your shaker in the middle if you want, or you can pan it all the way here, but I prefer to leave it in the middle. You can also EQ your shaker. This is where the bulk of the sound is. Where you see the most light or glow coming from, that's where the bulk of your sound is. So like in this kick now, you can see majority of the sound is here. So then let's come to the percussion. Just a little bit again, and that's fine. And that's fine. All right, so now let's go on to mix the melodies. All right, so now we're going to be mixing the melodies. So remember, we already turned them off here, so we can turn them on one by one. So this, and we're turning this on. So we're going to gain stage, reduce the volume. So when you feel like the loudness is okay, you can even, an easier way to gain stage is you can take it all the way down, and then you can bring it up gradually until you feel like, okay, this is enough. All right, I think this is fair. Then we can now EQ. Where is our EQ? We can just cut away this empty space. That's it. Then you can add reverb. Reverb helps you kind of like imitate certain environments. If you want to sound like it's in a hall or it's anywhere, you understand. For example, now I see large hall, size with sound. So we don't want that. Let's click default, and then we'll have our own settings. Now let's just increase the size and increase the wetness. That's basically all you need to know for now for using reverb as a beginner. Alright, then next let's turn this on. So we'll adjust the loudness again. Remember, now we can pan this a little bit to the left or right, depends on you. Let's say let's turn this off first. I think about 30% or so is fine. Then we can turn this on now. Then we'll pan it. Remember I said you can always pan similar sounds in opposite directions. So since it's sound in opposite direction, we can pan them in opposite direction. Reduce the volume. Then of course you EQ again. Then you add a little bit of reverb again to that. The same thing, just increase the size and increase the wetness. Alright, so remember we have this reverse as well, so we turn this on, we'll reduce the volume. So we're going to add a lot of reverb in this one so it will sound like it's in the space or atmosphere or something like that. And to do that, we increase the size, make it really wet, then reduce this dry right here. Yeah. And then next we're going to be mixing our lead melody. That is this one right here. Please make sure that whenever you pick a sound on the mixer here is the correct sound. You can always toggle it on or off here to know if it's the sound you are mixing. Again, we adjust. Then we EQ again. Then there are some effects you can add to make it interesting. An example is fruity phaser. You can add it to some of your melodies, or just melodies. I would not advise to add a phaser to a drum. You know, just melodies. You understand? And it makes it sound interesting. And you can reduce the amount of effects just by adjusting this. Then you can add another effect again called delay. Where is the delay? Let's see, delay. So now we usually want it to be, because when you look at this stop bar here to tell you a lot of things, so we want it to be around 2 or 4. Let's try 2 first and see how it sounds. So then what we want to do to reduce the way it's clashing is that we reduce the volume here. Then we add a little reverb. Where's reverb? Let's see. You see? We can adjust the amount of reverb here. Alright, so now let's go on to mix other parts of this. So select this region now, or rather let's use this region, and then our counter melody. Then again we gain stage. You can pan this. You can also pan your lead melody a little. Now let's add EQ too. Remember, the EQ is to take out unwanted frequencies. So just clear it. And a lot of these unwanted frequencies lie in the low end. So when you play a beat on big speakers, it sounds clean and clear. Then let's add reverb. Then now it's time for the background melody before we on the bass. The bass will be what we'll turn on last. Raise the volume. So again, EQ just to take out the low end. Most times this background melody, you may not need to pan it left or right. You may leave it at the middle because it's just kind of like in the atmosphere, you know, just blending in everywhere. It's not really, you know, tilting the mix one side. So you can most times leave your pads and background melody just in the middle. You don't really need to take it left or right. Same with the bass as well. You see, kick, your bass, any bass element, whether it's kick, bass guitar, bass drum, 808, bass vocals, any element that has lots of bass should be left in the middle. Do not try to take it left or right. It's going to tilt the mix. So now let's turn on the bass. Let's mix the bass. See how loud the bass is. Let's turn it all the way down. And also it's natural when you're mixing, your overall loudness becomes, you know, the overall loudness of the beat becomes very, very low. It's very natural. So you can always adjust that when we're mastering. Then now with EQ, just slightly. We don't need to do this. That's bad. Just slightly like this. Alright, while that is done, now let's start mixing in the drum rolls and other parts of the song. Ooh, that's really loud. So just adjust the loudness. Then we're going to use EQ. Adjust that as well. I'm also going to look for the low end. EQ again. Alright, I think the whole thing sounds decent. The mix sounds good as about now. Of course, it's not a perfect mix. Your first try will not always be a perfect mix. When you listen again, there'll always be something you can adjust. There'll always be something you feel you can tweak to sound a little bit better. So I think I do not waste too much time on a mix, you understand? So as a beginner, just do a couple of takes, 1 or 2 or 3 takes, move on to the next project. You surely get better the more beats and songs you mix. So for the first mix, I think this is okay. Alright, so we'll move on to the next lesson. Alright, so now we're going to master our beats, but we really can't master it while it's in here because it's not really smart to master a beat or a group of files, audio files, while they are still as stems, because these are stems. So we have to export it first and have a single file, then we master it to make it a bit louder. So we simply click here, go to export, then we'll go to wave file. When you're exporting for mastering or recording, you understand, or mixing, always export as wave file. So go to wave file, then we'll go to desktop. You understand? We'll go to desktop right here, and then you find your folder where you save your beats. You may save it in your documents or wherever you save your tracks, but I'll just save mine at my desktop for now. Producer Power Group Mix, Beat Mix. Then I'll be patient while it exports. I'll wrap remainder, of course, 32-bit flow stereo. Be patient. It may take a little bit longer or be faster on your PC, but whichever time it takes, just be patient with it. And voila, it's exported. So you see, this is the beat right here. It's going to be large, about 64 megabytes. Then you can drag it into your project here, and then you solo it. Make sure this is soloed. Then you solo it, make sure this is soloed. So then we link it to a new channel. Come all the way, producer power mix, select it, then come here, Control L only. Then now to make it louder, we don't need to do too much. All we have to do is use the Fruity limiter, and then we'll just increase the ceiling and then increase the gain a little. Be careful so it doesn't start sounding like this. We don't want that, so I want it to sound a bit natural. So you can even increase the ceiling all the way to the highest, but the gain, be careful how you increase the gain. This is bad, so you reduce it. You can see your beats will sound clean and clear and loud. Anybody playing with their phone or in an email or anywhere, we hear clean, clear, quality production. That's why it's important to mix your beats. So now we can export this mastered file. But of course, mastering is much more in depth than this. Is much more in depth than this. But this is basically what you need to make your beat sound, louder. If not, typically it's not advisable to master your beats, but if maybe you want to send it across so it can be audible and they can hear what you've done, because mixing usually makes everything a bit more quiet, but this will make it a bit louder. So you can export it now and send. You go to export. Of course, depends if you want to send it as a professional file wave, but this is a mastered file. You can export it as MP3 if you wish. So let us use wave still. You can even export it as both files. Let's say I export it as wave, producer power group beats mastered. Then I can also click MP3 as well, and I'll take it to the highest. It should be 320k bps, so it will export both wave and mp3 for me. So when I click export, make sure that your enable insert and all of this is on except for this split mixer track. Make sure that all of this is on. Then it's going to load. You be patient. So you see, if I expand a little, you see this is 7.10 megabytes, and then this is 62.6 megabytes. So this is the mp3 and this is the wave. If I play it, see, clean, clear, quality production. Alright, so that's it for this course. You can now export your beat as a mail or send it through WhatsApp, Telegram, anywhere. That is the mp3 format, of course. Then you can use the wave file professionally for recording, maybe further mixing or more quality mastering, and any other professional use is when you use the wave file. Thank you for taking this course. I remain Sir Classy. This is SC Tuts. Cheers.